Hello, artists. Today we're going to practice making geometric shaded shapes by making some very fun robots. We're going to be using the art elements of line, shape, color, and value. Value is when a color goes from light to dark or dark to light. So we're going to be practicing shading our objects and our little robots. But first, I want to talk about the geometric shapes we're going to use. As you can see, I have a cone, a cylinder, a circle, and a cube. And I have this little sun symbol up here next to each one of them because that's telling us where the light is coming from. And when it comes to shading, light is the most important thing because that tells us where the object is going to be darker or lighter in value. So here you can see the sun is shining down on the right side of this cone, and the left side is dark, and the shadow is on the left side. It's the opposite here. The sun is shining on the left side and the right side is dark. So the shadow is on the right side. So that's the same thing with our cylinders, our circles, and our cubes. So I want to show you some robots that I've already made, and then I'll show you how to shade your robot. So here's one. Here's a lady robot, and you'll notice that I put the sun up here in the corner. That's so that I will remind myself which way the sun is shining. So if the sun is shining this way, it means that the tops of things are going to be the lightest. So the top of her head, top of her shoulders, and then on the sides of her arms that are closest to the sun, it's going to be light. But you'll see on this side, it's dark because this is in shadow. The front of her is also in shadow a little bit, so I've added black to make this part dark. She also has a shadow underneath her skirt and then shadows on her legs. And the sun is shining this way, so this side of her legs is going to be lighter than this side. And then I made a shadow underneath. So the sun right now on this picture is on the left-hand side. In this picture, this is a boy robot, and the sun is shining on the right-hand side. So the top of his head is going to be lighter, the top of his shoulders, the side of his arm that's facing the sun is going to be lighter, but the side that's facing away from the sun is going to be darker. Same thing with his legs. This side is facing the sun, but this side is not, so it's going to be darker. So I'm going to show you how to create a robot picture using these geometric shapes and also how to shade it just using one colored pencil and black. Now, if you want to use a variety of colors on your robot instead of just one color, you can. That's perfectly fine. So right now, I have a robot cat that I am going to color in and show you how to shade it. So you're going to need today your eraser and your pencil, and then your colored pencils. So I've already drawn my cat shape, and if you notice, I have a rectangle, a rectangular prism because I can see three sides of it, and another one, and some cones for the legs, and some circles for the feet, circles for the neck, circles for a face, and then triangles or cones for the ears. So when you build your robot, you want to build it using these very simple geometric shapes. Now, the next decision I have to make is which way is the sun shining? Is the sun going to be shining from the right or shining from the left? And I think I'm going to make the sun shining for the left. So I'm just going to put a little sun symbol up here. I'll erase that later. But this reminds me of which way the sun is shining on my cat. So I'm going to color my cat green. As I said before, if you want to color your robot a variety of colors, you can do that, or you can make it a rainbow, or you can make it two different colors. That's fine with me. But for now, I'm just going to use one. I'm going to use green. So I'm going to start with the ears because they're right next to that sun. And since the sun is shining on this side of the ear, I am going to make this side darker. So I'm going to start on this side and then gradually get much lighter. And then I'll fill it in some. And then this side of the ear is facing the sun. So I am going to make this side darker and then gradually get lighter. All right. So there's the face. Now, this side of my cat face is facing the sun, but this side would be in shadow. So I am going to start on the shadow part, and I'm going to skip over the eyes and the mouth, and then very slowly get lighter on this side. Now I want to make this side much darker. And because this is a circle or a sphere, I want to make my lines curvy because that's the way it naturally would look. If you have an orange, you can hold that up to the light and just see how the shadow curves on a sphere. All right, there's the face. Okay, now I have two more smaller spheres here for the neck. So I'm going to make this side darker because this side faces the sun. I'm going to make a curvy line and then fill it in a little lighter, darker. It's a curvy line. Fill it in lighter. This side of my cat's body is facing the sun. So this is going to be the lightest side, but this side is more in shadow. And this side is going to be just a little bit darker, but not too much. It also is facing the sun a little bit. So I'm going to make this light. And then the top here, I'm going to make light. But as it gets towards the back, I'm going to make it just a little bit darker. Not a lot. This is kind of the medium side. But this part of my cat's body is the darkest. So I'm going to color that in darker. All right. Now, the tail, this part of the tail is facing the sun. And so it's going to be the lightest. This part is going to be kind of medium. And this part is away from the sun. And so I am going to make it the darkest. Same thing with the legs. This part is facing the sun. And so this will be the lightest and it'll get darker. This is facing the sun, so this is the lightest, and then it'll get darker. Same with these spheres for the feet. So this is facing the sun, this part is darker because it's in shadow. Same here. And I'll do the same thing with these legs. This part is facing the sun and this part isn't, so this will be darker. And here's the feet again. These spheres, remember when you're coloring a sphere, you want to have a curve to your line. Okay, now to really bring out the dark parts of my picture, I want to add a little black. So I'm going to very carefully add some black because black takes over color really fast. So I want to just add a tiny bit of black just to make my shadowy part darker. And I'm going to color my mouth in dark. and my eyes. You can make your features any color you want, but I'm just for now going to make mine black. I'm going to add a little bit of black everywhere on the very edge of that shadow just to bring it out a little more, make it just a little more distinctive. But remember, I'm not going to bring it all the way to the edge here because that's where the light is. So we're going to make that part lighter. And this one's in shadow. And on the tail too. And now I'm going to do that also on the body. And you notice that I've got my pencil on its side. That's going to keep it from getting too dark. I don't want it to get too dark. So I'm just lightly shading the body with my black pencil. There you go. And I've created a little bit of space at the very top of my cones here. And I'm going to shade that into a little darker. That's just something that I wanted to do, but you don't have to do. I just wanted to put that little space there. All right, so here we go. This is shading a picture, and I am going to erase my sun. I don't need that as a reminder anymore. And for the very last, I'm going to make a shadow under my cat. So it looks like it's standing in a space. Underneath my cat, it's going to be a little darker. Since the sun was on this side, it'll be lighter, a little darker behind the cat. And there we have it. So we're going to be using these geometric shapes. And remember, you want to add the sun in the corner of your picture so that you know where it's going to be light and where it's going to be dark in value. And once again, here are my other two robots that I did. Remember, the sun is shining here. And now that I completed my picture, I'm going to erase my sun. I don't need my sun anymore. And then here's my lady robot. I'm going to erase the sun because I don't need that reminder anymore. I hope you have fun with this robot shading project. That's all for today.